If you are ready to start your podcast, but you feel overwhelmed by the tech, or you're afraid that if you buy all the things people are telling you, you're gonna go broke, this video is for you. Let's dive into what you actually need to start your podcast. Hey, I'm Hiwote. I'm a podcast producer. I've made shows like Esther Perel's Where Should We Begin? And This Is Dating, which was listed as one of Time Magazine's best podcasts of 2022. Love to see it. I have also made shows for brands like TED, the New York Times, the Gates Foundation, and many more. And now I've created this channel to help podcasters like you to gain the creative clarity and confidence to make a show that is as unique as you are. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing you have to know is that your concept is your biggest asset. So before you go out and buy anything, I want you to get super clear about what exactly the show you're making is, who it's for, and why these people who are supposed to be listening to it, why they're going to find it so valuable. Like, what makes it different? What makes it interesting? What is it that this show gives them that other shows don't give them? Okay? So in order to do that, a really simple exercise is to just turn everything off and give yourself 30 minutes to write down what you think the first 12 episodes of your season are going to be. So who are you going to talk to? What are you going to talk about? Why is this going to be interesting to your audience? If you can clearly write that out for a season, then you're on your way. Now that your podcast concept is solid, let's get into the actual tech. You really just need 3, maybe 4 things, okay? The first thing is something to record with. The second is something to make sure that, like headphones, to make sure that you don't hear the other person's audio. If you have an interview-based show, you want to make sure that you don't hear the other person's audio on your audio line, so you need headphones. And then the third thing is a recording software. And I say maybe 4 because you also need something to edit with. So when I say tech, I'm talking about all of those things. So when you're first starting, if you're not sure how likely you are to actually keep up with this podcast, my recommendation is that you actually start with the voice memo app on your phone. Okay, let me show you. So if you go to your voice memo app and you just start recording whatever it is, especially if you have a solo show, if you just start recording whatever it is that you think you might want to say to someone else, and you just have to have the phone somewhat close to your mouth, ideally below your mouth, and just talk about whatever it is that you're going to talk about on the episode. It helps you get the idea out of your brain and into a device to see if this thing is, if there's a there, okay? So if you're really not sure about your podcast idea, start with your phone as your primary recording tool. Now, if you're telling me, you know what, Hiwote, I know for sure that I'm going to do this podcast, then my recommendation to you is one of 2 podcast microphones. The Blue Yeti Nano, which is actually what I've made a lot of the shows I've made with before, and I'm using it right now. Or you can use the Audio-Technica AT2020. Both of these mics are really good. The reason I give you both options is that I find that they basically record at the exact same level and quality. I kind of like the Blue Yeti a little bit more, but that's because if you're in a room that doesn't have a lot of soft surfaces, which is really what you need in order to make sure your audio sounds good, then the Blue Yeti Nano tends to give you a slightly better audio quality, but to be honest, it's not that noticeable, okay? So beginner mic is either the Blue Yeti Nano or the Audio-Technica AT2020. Now, the second thing is headphones. You can go out and buy really nice headphones like the Beyer Dynamic DT770 Pro. These are the only over-the-ear headphones that I like because they don't give me a headache and I feel like they work with my curly hair. But to be honest with you, for most interviews, I use this kind of wired mic. The reason we use wired headphones instead of wireless ones for virtual interviews is because it tends to create some sort of interference with the recording. So generally speaking, even if you have a guest that you're interviewing, you want to encourage them to use some sort of wired headphones. They don't have to be super nice, but I like the Apple ones because they also happen to have a mic right here. Okay, so we have our microphone or our phone, and then we have a pair of headphones that we're using for recording. So then we're gonna get into the recording software and the editing software. Before we jump into that, I wanna tell you, your room where you record is a very important part of this recording setup. You want a room that has as many soft surfaces as possible. So I'll give you two extremes. A bathroom, worst place to record. That's a place that has very few soft surfaces. A closet or a small bedroom, best place to record because it has tons of soft surfaces, okay? If you Google Ira Glass closet, you'll see him recording in a closet because this is a thing professional producers do all the time and professional hosts do all the time, okay? So consider that. Like, is there a place in your house that has lots of soft surfaces that you can already use? If the answer is no, then my question for you is, what can you set up in your office or in a nook in your space that can be full of soft surfaces so that you can actually get the highest possible audio quality? So we have talked about your podcast concept and we've talked about your recording setup. Let's talk about recording software. Generally speaking, if you were recording in person, you could just use, let's say if you're using your phone, you could just use one mic for you, aka one phone to record you, and then another phone to record the other person. Let's say you're doing an interview-based show. So you could just start that way. But most of us are recording virtually because we want to interview people that don't live in the same city or town as us, or we're making a narrative show that has multiple voices and these people don't all live close to us. If that's the case, you will want a virtual recording software like Squadcast or Riverside. These I have found to be the two best ones. The reason we don't use something like Zoom, for example, is because Zoom compresses your audio. And a compressed audio is just a lower quality file than a file that has not been compressed. So Squadcast and Riverside don't do this. That's why I prefer them for recording your audio. Now, if you have to pick between the two, my preference is that you choose Squadcast. Why? Because we're going to be using the editing software that comes with Squadcast, which is dramatically better than the editing software that comes with Riverside. So with that, let's talk about editing software. You have now, in the modern world, we have tons of ways to edit audio. When I first started, we used to use GarageBand, or a lot of people used Audacity. These are tools where you see the sound waves and you're cutting the sound waves to cut out chunks of your conversation or your recording. Now though, with AI, we have so many transcription tools like Descript where it will transcribe your interview or your recording, and then you can just edit the words and that will actually edit the audio for you. Mind-blowing, right? So I recommend Squadcast as a recording software because it comes as a free add-on if you know that you're going to be using Descript as your editing software. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, now that we're talking about recording and editing software, let's talk about some of these prices, okay? So Riverside gives you 2 free hours of recording for $0 per month. Now, if you're just starting to test out your idea, I think this is your best option because Riverside within it also has a transcription and editing tool. So start there. But if you're telling me, you know what, I'm sure that this is what I want to do, I recommend Squadcast. And the reason for this is because while Squadcast will only give you 1 hour of free recording per month at the $0 per month plan, Squadcast also comes with Descript. Okay, so my recommendation is if you know that you are definitely going to do this, go with Squadcast and pay for the lowest tier of Descript, which is $12 a month if you go with the annual or $15 a month if you go with the monthly. And the reason I say this is because Descript is way, way, way better at editing than Riverside is. So the AI tools in Descript basically are changing and updating every single day. So my recommendation and what I teach to the students in my program is to always edit with Descript. It just significantly reduces the anxiety that comes with editing. Next, let's talk about hosting your podcast. Your podcast basically needs a home on the internet, And from that home, it's gonna have an RSS feed that every time you update or put new information into that home, new episodes into that home, the RSS feed is going to tell Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever else you have your podcast, it's gonna tell it, hey, there's a new episode. Tell every subscriber that's subscribed on Apple or on Spotify, tell them we have a new episode. So in order for that to happen, you need a podcast hosting platform. Now, where should you start in order to be most cost effective when you're first starting? Anchor is a free platform, but I prefer Substack. And most people don't realize that Substack has its own podcast hosting option. And it's brilliant because A, it's free, right? And so you get to save some money. B, you also are encouraged to start a newsletter, which is something I encourage everybody with a podcast to do so that you can reach your listeners directly. And C, Substack has a recommendation feature that allows you to get discovered by new people who are already on somebody else's Substack. Does that make sense? So we want you to get discovered in as many ways as possible. And you making the absolute best show that you can make is the most important thing. But after that, we have to put ourselves out there. And Substack, I think, is the best way for you to put yourself out there when you're first starting. And pro tip, my recommendation is that you can move your RSS feed from Substack to something like a Buzzsprout, a Libsyn, a Captivate. Once you've really established your podcast, your voice, when you're sure that this is the direction you're gonna go in and that you're gonna keep building, you can start investing. But in the meantime, save that $12 for Netflix. And finally, I want you to focus on voice, not perfection. The reason I say this is because when we start, we think we need to get all of our elements in this perfect state in order to do well. The truth is that your audio needs to be good, but just good enough that the quality is not distracting. It doesn't need to be studio level recording when you're first starting out. What you really want is to create an MVP, a minimum viable product, something to show your brain that this is worth pursuing episode after episode. And I'm telling you this because most podcasts don't make it past anywhere from 8 to 12 episodes. The data is mixed. But for you not to be that, I need you to test your concept in the cheapest, most feasible way to see if people actually need this podcast out in the world before you go out and invest hundreds of dollars on mics, on tools, etc. So I'll end on this. The most important thing is that you actually start. So I really encourage you to stop doing research and actually just make a decision. When is it that you are gonna record the first episode? And if you're like, wait, I still have a lot of questions, I recommend you download my free guide to launching a podcast. It tells you everything from strategy to production to community building that I teach in the Emerging Voices program that I run for aspiring podcasters. I will see you in the next video.